Good evening, parents and guardians, and thank you for attending this information session regarding problem solving and how your support in the classroom could be of great assistance. My name is Miss Orr, and this is my teaching partner, Miss Politi. We're teacher share in Class 4A here at Riverbank State School. According to the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, problem solving plays an important role in mathematics and should have a prominent role in the mathematics education of students. Problem solving is a critical life skill, a concept we do daily without realising. In simple form, it is, I want or need that, how am I going to achieve that? With your help in small groups, we can build onto the students' knowledge and understanding of problem solving so they feel confident and build resilience and persistence during their schooling years and later in life. Allowing students to participate in small groups permits them to focus better and have more individual help if need be. The aim is to have our students feel full of accomplishment. According to the Australian Curriculum Mathematics Proficiency Problem Solving, students in years 3 to 6 use mathematics to demonstrate unknown or meaningful dilemmas and prepare their approaches. In particular, in grade 4, students will use problem solving, including formulating, modelling and recording authentic situations involving operations, comparing large numbers with each other, comparing time durations, and using properties of continued patterns. For more information on the Australian Curriculum Mathematics, a quick search on the internet will have you find the page. This is what the link looks like. A website link will be on the information sheet during this session. Factors you will hear during this session include what exactly counts as a problem and problem solving, when students solve problems, signposts, factors for success, choosing and finding appropriate problems, strategies including the use of information communication and technologies, checking work, classroom management, and the benefits of volunteer assistance. A problem is something that a student needs to solve when they are unable to see the answer appear instantly. It is different to an exercise, which is where a student will have just been taught a math concept and completes exercises involving the newfound method. A routine problem derives from observing what mathematical concepts should be promptly conducted, linking back to how the student learnt the application. Whereas a non-routine problem means the student will need to work out which mathematical procedure is best to use to solve this problem. Overall, problem solving will require the student to use high-end thinking and determination will be essential. The Australian curriculum states that problem solving is one of the 4 mathematical proficiencies embedded in the mathematic learning area amongst all 3 substreams. It is specified that students solve problems when an unrecognisable dilemma is presented and resolved using mathematics, investigations are created and strategies are attempted, solutions are retrieved from previous mathematical knowledge and skills, and answers are confirmed to be logical and rational. Does anybody have a question at this stage? It is crucial students understand mathematical concepts and procedures to allow them to be adaptable and fitting within foreign situations within their time at their school, but also outside this time period. Students will retain these concepts and procedures when they are able to solve and accomplish tasks themselves rather than be told how to achieve the goal answer. Hobart created signposts to help pilot teachers educate mathematics through problem solving. They include Signpost 1, allow mathematics to be problematic for students. This means that the tasks given to students should allow them to struggle slightly and for the teachers to not jump in immediately to help the child solve the problem. Signpost 2, focus on the methods used to solve problems. This is when students need to consider the different methods to solve the problem and what they find easiest. They can then discuss this with other peers. Signpost 3, tell the right things at the right time, which equivalates to the teacher knowing the student and observing that an attempt has been made, but they are still finding it challenging, so the teacher may offer another way to solve the problem. Problem solving can be a very challenging proficiency for students to grasp and also for teachers to educate students on. Studies have been able to cast some broad overviews into the characteristics of students, features of dilemmas, taught concepts, and room environments, which may guide students to achieve more when problem solving. These generalizations including adding on to what students know already, understanding that a student needn't have mastered a concept before seeing it in questions. However, these questions do need to be appropriate to their developmental level. Students should also be taught various strategies to be able to complete dilemmas. Encouragement at school and at home is also very important. Furthermore, major factors which influence students' problem solving are knowledge, beliefs and effects, control, and socio-cultural factors. It is vital that teachers are selecting problem solving questions that are based at the average rate of development levels within the classroom. Students need to feel as though the task is allowing them to inquire and challenge themselves while still being able to reach a solution. Students will become frustrated and lose interest if they are struggling with great difficulty from the work. Problems should allow students to use various methods to find an answer, as not all students will feel comfortable having to use only one strategy. Appropriate problems will encourage students to use logic and motive to plan, estimate, and test reasonableness of the data given. A sample of a grade 4 problem-solving question would be, how many days so far should you have approximately attended school for? This problem requires the students to conduct multiple steps. This being a non-routine problem, as there are multiple ways to solve it. Think about how you might solve this question. Firstly, students may work out how many school weeks there has been. They may break this down into separate terms. Next, they multiply these numbers by 5. And finally, add these numbers together. By using the word approximately, students needn't worry about public holidays, for example. This problem links to grade 4 standards as the Australian Curriculum Mathematics states that in this year level, students should be able to recall multiple facts up to 10 times 10, with also having previously been taught addition. There are numerous ways that teachers may select and find problem-solving questions for students. Teachers will explore multiple articles, websites and books, including children's literature such as narratives, plus develop problems themselves, build upon impulsive situations from students, have students share their own written problems with one another, and attend professional meetings or swap problems with colleagues. Students may even suggest a problem that occurred at home while being with you. If there are no further questions at this stage, I'd like to swap you over to Ms. Politi.
Thank you, Ms. Orr. I will be presenting the final elements for our presentation today. Please feel free to raise your hand at any time for further questions or clarification. Polya's 4-stage model for problem solving and strategies. In relation to the previously stated areas, a particularly beneficial technique for building student problem solving skills is found through the incorporation of Polya's 4-stage model for problem solving. Polya in 1973 renewed 4 phases approach or sequence was made accessible to the public in order to provide support towards gaining a greater understanding and ability to problem solve. The process itself revolves around the 4 basic principles. First and foremost, understanding the problem. Second, planning. Third, implementation. And fourth, reflection. All of which equate to the primary objective of enabling learners to build on mathematical knowledge and the processes that contribute towards acquiring effective strategies to solve a variety of problems. Learning styles, individuality of students, learning, and parent-guardian-teacher collaboration. This is a process that guides our pedagogical practices. Nevertheless, and while this approach is widely supported and notably beneficial, it is crucial to acknowledge additional areas for developing an effective approach for fostering mathematical proficiencies. First and foremost, respecting the individuality of each student and their preferred style of learning. Fundamentally, it is the understanding of each student process information and how teachers can modify or differentiate learning content environments to suit each student. This leads to the second area, an area that we highly value here at Riverbank State School. Open and genuine collaboration between teachers and parents and guardians. Together, we can determine your child's strength, in addition to areas requiring guidance, and effectively build on practices that better support your child's level of understanding and individual learning style. An example of methods utilised to obtain data reflecting on student preferred learning styles include observing the manner in which each child retains information. This can be undertaken through formative assessments, open-ended dialogue, and student feedback. As for gaining various forms of student, parent, and guardian information, both Ms. Orr and myself work alongside professional guidelines that are delivered via both the Riverbank State Schools policies and Queensland College of Teachers. As such, we can assure confidentiality, professionalism, and genuine care for your children, including parent-guardian partnerships. I would like to take this moment to ask if there are any questions. Strategies for developing problem-solving capabilities. During the initial phases of problem-solving, students are encouraged to think critically about the underlying issues represented within a problem and what possible procedures may be undertaken in order to solve them. This includes the processes of problem-solving and the establishment of tools or strategies to support learning. It is at this stage that lessons focus primarily on modelling strategies that facilitate this level of learning, an area that can be further explored through whole class discussions, reflective questioning, and independent research. As teachers, there are essential tools and methods we use to support and guide our practices, a number of which can be shared among parents and guardians as examples of sequenced lessons, effective teaching approaches, intended learning outcomes, resources for gaining a better understanding, as well as information on how to access material and utilize relevant information to further support your child. Devising a plan and carrying it out strategies. A particularly useful teaching source, Helping Children Learn Mathematics, edition 2, developed in 2017 by Reyes et al., contains a variety of strategies to support professional knowledge building in regards to teaching for mathematical proficiency. A sample of these strategies facilitates student learning by working through a specific routine, devising a plan that involves acting it out, making a drawing or diagram, look for a pattern, construct a table, guess and check, work backwards, and solve a similar but simpler problem. These are strategies that we incorporate into problem-solving lessons, those of which are particularly effective when planned and enacted in smaller groups, especially in settings that involve rotational activities that are conducted by a parent and guardian involvement. As Ms. Orr explained earlier, we will provide a parent information sheet at the end of this presentation, containing an assortment of information that has been presented this evening, including links and studies that support teaching approaches that are practices within our classroom. The use of ICTs when supporting student engagement and understanding in mathematics learning strategies can be modified to suit the individual learning styles of the students by applying the founding principles of information and communication technologies, or ICTs. An essential component of learning, at their core, the principles of ICTs places emphasis on communication and information while using technologies. Furthermore, as ICTs is a general capability within the Australian curriculum, it is essential that lessons utilise varying methods, materials and resources that interlink with this area of learning. This is especially relevant and explicitly outlined through ACARA, as the world around us is ever evolving, so is our digital world. Thus, a major aspect of learning is undertaken via technology. Therein positions our aim to facilitate student learning in regards to problem solving by designing lessons that are stimulating and utilise technologies in a manner that is safe, meaningful, engaging and inclusive of all developmental stages of learning. Digital learning tool. As students enter a school environment, they are provided opportunities to openly explore online learning tools in a space that promotes the safe use of digital technologies. For example, Mathletics, an application that is provided by the school and is individually installed on each of the students' tablets. This application is not only directly aligning with the Australian curriculum at student year level, but also Mathletics provides the option to personalise each activity to better suit the level of each student. Additionally, due to the accessible nature of this application, students will have the ability to further their mathematical proficiency outside of the classroom, giving parents and guardians the opportunity to participate in the activities as a unit. as well as facilitating the means to observe the student's progress. Supporting student understanding, checking, looking back. As we continue to support student understanding, the process of checking or looking back becomes the final factor for effectively developing problem-solving capabilities. This stage encourages students to look back, reflect on their work as an integral aspect to finding solutions to a problem. It is in the classroom that students gain a valuable insight into their own mechanics for problem solving. This is predominantly generated through a process of self-reflection or looking back on the what, where, and how processes to determine the final outcome for solving a problem. The extent of knowledge that is gained through reflective learning is evident in a classroom that actively supports shared learning. Looking back and shared learning. Shared learning is a process of active collaboration or contribution, a series of moments that encourage peer collaboration and open-ended dialogue. It is during these precious moments that students think critically about a certain aspect of their learning, including the procedure in which they have learned, and share this knowledge with the class. This in turn helps students to question how they have reached a certain answer and what procedure was effective. Ultimately, our goal is to encourage the students to develop a sense of security in terms of the development of their own problem-solving skills. It is our belief that children are capable of finding innovative solutions, those of which are inspired by our shared values, theories, and critical reflection, including those shared from home perspectives, a highly valued learning tool that we aspire to host in our classroom. Touching back on the reflection process, in our classroom, we utilize an array of learning. We utilize an approach developed through learning through mathematics edition 2. Looking back at the problem, looking back at the answer, looking back at the solution process, and looking back at one's own thinking. I would like to take a moment to ask if there are any questions. If you would like additional information regarding looking back processes, you can type looking back and problem solving into a search engine such as Google. There are plenty of informative websites that contain further details. Knowing our students and helping them prepare for their future. Finally, an essential component outlined in the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, Standard 1, Understand How Students Learn, involves the honing of our professional knowledge, professional practice, and professional engagement. In essence, our responsibility as teaching professionals is to ensure that each student is supported in respect to each academic domain, their style of learning, and ultimately, the individuality in which each makes each person unique and prepared for their future. Managing classroom routines and the benefits of volunteers. In Year 4, students acquire a great deal of evolved information, and in terms of mathematical knowledge and understanding problem solving, it is vital that they are exposed to multiple strategies that can be individually selected and recreated as their own. This includes and is not limited to the manner in which the learning environment is arranged, how routines are structured and practiced, and how students' needs are supported and managed. Furthermore, during this stage especially, the involvement of parents and guardians in the classroom proves highly beneficial for students, as their presence allows teachers to create smaller volunteer-led groups, providing individualized attention, differentiation, and further student engagement. It is our intention today to encourage active family involvement within the classroom, and with your assistance, the organisation and implementation of these smaller group learning experiences can become a reality, one in which offers not only the opportunity for families to develop a broader understanding of the governing curriculum that guides our practices, but how together, interlinking with learning content, we can guide student learning in ways that are meaningful and relevant to their world, as well as maintain student understanding and engagement in problem solving. Does anyone have any questions at this time? Thank you for your time and support. We hope that you have gained some valuable information this evening. We will be handing out the parent information sheet in a moment. We ask that if you have any questions to speak to either Ms. Orr or myself. Thank you and good night.